Emma Waters, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you on the show.
Of course, it's great to be here.
Now, a CNN piece is making headlines. It's titled, "I Slept with My Half-Sibling. Woman's Horror Story Reflects Loosely Regulated Nature of the U.S. Fertility Industry." How does this even happen?
Yeah, so this is the outcome of the bizarre and unregulated fertility industry today. So this woman in particular was conceived using donor sperm, an anonymous donor sperm at that. So after joking for many years that she had nothing in common with her father, no looks, no personality similarities, she took a 23andMe DNA test that's actually been revolutionizing the way that people think about their ancestry and also discover these unknown siblings. And to her horror and surprise, she discovered that she had countless half-siblings, including someone that she actually dated in high school.
Gosh, now how common or widespread is this phenomenon, or even is there enough research to even know?
Yeah, it's a really tricky question. Again, the fertility industry is so unregulated. We have very few statistics on exactly how many children are conceived with donor egg and sperm. So we know that about 2% of all births in the United States are due to in vitro fertilization, which is the most common form of reproductive technology. But when it comes to these donor scenarios, we have no idea. Some donors conceive over 100 or even 200 children, and sometimes the donors never see the light of day.
Now, it was recently discovered that data from a Dutch sperm bank that closed in 2004 has gone missing, and that some of the men were able to father far more children than regulations permitted. That's raising concerns over accidental incest. Now, tell us, what is the state of regulation in the U.S. fertility industry?
Yeah, so in the United States, we don't have any regulation that limits the number of times donor sperm can be used to create children. So this has actually been a really big push to highlight countries like Norway, Germany, or the UK that actually limit the number of times a person can be the father or the mother through a donor conception method. But yeah, like I said, in the United States, we actually have very little regulation that limits this practice at all.
And given that, is there any regulation in the works, or what regulation do we need to prevent this accidental incest from occurring?
Yeah, this is a great question. So there are a few things. The state of Colorado has actually banned all anonymous sperm and egg donation, so that if a child is created using a sperm and egg that does not belong to the mother or father, the child has the right to know who that person is, and therefore who their potential half-siblings are. There's another movement to actually make fertility fraud a punishable crime. And so this is embedded in the CNN story, where it talked about fertility doctors actually using their own sperm, not the sperm that the family selected, in order to impregnate the woman, which is a very bizarre and very violating scenario, where in many cases children thought that their father was their biological father, only to find out decades later that they actually have no connection to him. So many states have actually worked to penalize fertility fraud, and there's also federal level regulations that are hoping to accomplish the same thing.
And given what we are seeing here when it comes to overcoming this issue, do you think there needs to be a cultural shift when it comes to discussing this, especially since fertility is a very sensitive topic?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the primary thing to keep in mind here is that our orientation towards children should be viewing children as a gift, not a right that adults have. And so when we do that, that actually shifts our thinking so that we don't view these technologies as something that we have a right to, that we can use in whatever way possible in order to conceive a child. But it will actually cause us to think, what is best for the child in this situation? And so if we frame our legislation and even our cultural conversations around this question of what does the child need ultimately in order to thrive, I think that you'll see people move away from donor insemination. There's this inherent need among children, right, to know who their biological mother and father is, to know where they're coming from, and even know their potential siblings. And if you keep that first and foremost, these sorts of practices aren't actually helping children as much as they are maybe helping adults overcome the difficulties that they have. So I think that's a first shift that we should really keep in mind. It's this child-first approach to our fertility problems.
Emma Waters, thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thank you.